Hi there, my beautiful, soulful women entrepreneurs. This is the Soulful Money and Business Training today, Monday, and I am here to talk with you today about boundaries in your business. I've got my Buffalo Bills earrings on and my Bills shirt. Big day for the Bills yesterday. It was a great win. That might be something you don't know about me. I am a big Buffalo Bills fan. Um, Never thought in a million years that I would be. I don't like violent sports at all. However, there is something about football that like kicked into gear in my mind a couple of years ago. And I happen to really love it and really get it and understand it. And I love the Bills and I live in Buffalo. So what can I say? Um, Today, boundaries in your business. And that kind of goes along with football as well, right? Like being successful in a game and scoring points takes setting boundaries, setting guidelines, stopping the other team from scoring points, setting boundaries and guidelines, all necessary to be successful. And the same is true for your business. And I don't often refer things to the game of football. So I'm going to take this reference here about boundaries into an area that I have a little more expertise in and that resonates here with all of you. And that would be horses and a horse pasture. And I've had horses for most of my life, living at my home, on my property, or living somewhere else. But they've been in my life, and there's so much about keeping horses safe that has to do with the fence, has to do with the physical plant, the housing for them. And I like to think of boundaries like that fence that keeps your horse pasture safe for your horses, right? And it's a really interesting topic, boundaries, because my guess is that if I were to ask each of you individually, how are you with boundaries in your business? You might say, oh, I feel really good. I'm really strong and really confident and capable with the boundaries in my business. And I hope that that's true. But boundaries can be tricky sometimes when it comes to our own business, because it's all about relationship, right? And it's our relationship with our business, which we are passionate about our business. That's why we do this beautiful work. We're passionate about it. We're also really passionate about our clients and making things right for them. And we are also passionate about the outcomes that our clients get. And tied up in all of that in our business is also a piece of our heart and our soul and our value, how we value ourselves as well as how we are valued, right? So it can create the space inside your business for to learn a lot about boundaries, but also to have boundaries challenged at times. And boundaries affect everything. They affect your business, your life, your relationships, your money, animals. Boundaries have everything to do with love. They have everything to do with health, right? Like they really structure everything. And I look at it as it is the fence. It is the pasture fence that keeps all the good where it needs to be, and it keeps anything bad from getting in, and it keeps all the good safe, right? That's what we want our fences to do for our horses, is to keep them safe and keep any predators out and keep that which we love, the horses, from getting out and being harmed or injured or lost or anything, right? So I see, I like to think of it that way, right? And so when you start thinking about boundaries and really making it a project for you to shore up your fence, shore up those pasture rails, shore up those fence posts so that you know that you have really excellent boundaries in place that will take excellent care of you, of your business, of your clients, of the value that you provide through the work that you do. So I have a question for you. And my question is, how can you tell, or how do you know when your boundaries get challenged or pressed? Like, what comes up for you? Do you get uncomfortable? Do you start to feel a little like resentful, or maybe you might get a sense of feeling unsafe, or like something doesn't feel right. Um, Whatever it is, notice that shift in energy and that something feels out of balance or out of alignment. And by noticing that, you can then go into determining, okay, where do I need to shore up a boundary here? Whenever we start to feel uncomfortable about something, it is because there is a boundary being pressed or challenged or questioned. That can be internal boundaries, that can be external boundaries. So, my question for you is, how do you know that? Is it the feeling that you get in your belly, in your gut? Does it come kind of like in your mind? Does it, for me, I know I start to feel it in my chest. I feel like a flutter in my heart sometimes, when a boundary is being challenged or pressed. Um, and and I think it's really important to notice, because when we are in it, like we are in our businesses, we're on the inside of that fence, and we don't always see clearly from the outside of the fence, because we're not outside, we're on the inside. We can't be on the outside looking in and say, oh, hey, that's what was happening. That's what's causing me to feel that way. So I really want you to get in tune with your sensory responses. And whenever you start to feel something out of alignment, or maybe a flutter in your gut or your heart or in your mind, or a sensation of being uncomfortable, it's usually because there's a boundary being challenged. And then you can ask yourself, okay, what's really happening here? What's going on? And you can make a conscious decision to take a look at those fence posts, take a look at the things you have in place in your business that protect you, that protect your clients, that protect your business, that protect the value of the work that you do, and decide, okay, and determine, okay, something's being challenged and it's up to me to right that. It's up to me to fix that and shore up that fence post. And my next question for you is, what boundaries are challenging for you to set or to uphold or to keep, right? What boundaries in your business are challenging for you to set or uphold or to keep? And it might show up in your business as not being able to ask to get paid, not being able to say, this is the investment and you can pay me by X, Y, and Z, right? It may be that. That is a boundary. That is saying, this is what I do and this is how I value it. And that is a boundary. It might be that you find yourself always changing your fees. You might bop around and shift your fees every month or so and go back and forth and, lower your rates and then raise your rates and kind of bounce around. That's a boundary issue. That's a fence post issue. That's a fence rail issue, where just set it. If you keep messing with it and taking it down and trying on new fence posts and all that, you're going to wear out the fence. You're going to wear out that link in the whole container, right? So that might be an area that comes up for you, is changing your fees. Or you might have set fees for most people, and then you might have some people that you have another set fee for, or you adjust your fees based on the person, based on your relationship with the person. And I'm not telling you never to do that. What that does is it takes up a lot of bandwidth, right? Like, it takes up a lot of remembering and then logging it so that you remember the next time you work with them. And it requires just a lot of energy to constantly be adjusting, right? Like in that example, think about, your prices are the fence, right? And once you put that fence up, you don't want to have to keep attending to it. Once it's up, it does its job, it's there, and you don't have to think about it. But if you have to take your time and your energy all the time to be readjusting fence posts, you never get to ride your horses. You never get to spend time out, walking them to eat grass, or grooming them and doing the things that you love with them. You're always putting your energy into the fence, right? So when it comes to your prices, just set them and let them be. Let them do the work. Let them hold your business up. Let your prices hold your business up, right? They create part of the fence, part of your pasture fence. Another way that boundaries and boundaries being pressed or tweaked that might show up in your business is always going over in your sessions, right? And this can be a double-edged thing, because sometimes going over with client sessions, like you spend too much time with one client or you go overtime. Sometimes it's necessary. I mean, let's just put that out there. Sometimes if a client isn't complete with something, or they're right on the verge of a breakthrough, or that they just need a little bit more time to get what they need in that session, that's okay. That's totally okay. But if you find yourself repeatedly going overtime, that's not cool. That's not good. It's not good for you because you are over delivering. It's not good for your clients because it sets inconsistency in terms of what they can expect, and people like consistency, right? It's also not good for your clients because it brings up a question around boundaries, right? And when we as a practitioner gets caught in over delivering, most of the time it's about us. It's about wanting to feel better about all that you're doing for your client, or wanting to be sure that you just are giving them the best that you can possibly give them, right? Or it's about going over the top or over the time because you really need to feel like you are worth the money that they gave you in exchange for the service that you're giving them. Okay. And none of that is good for you. And none of that is good for your client. When you over deliver and you kind of cross that boundary on your time and what you promised to give in the session, chances are, I will say 99.9% of the time, that is way too much for your client to even process. Take aside those few times when they might just need a little bit of extra time or a little extra something just to, that they're just about going to have a breakthrough, or just about going to get to their yes or their answer, right? And what they need until they see you again. There are a few times for that, but if it happens regularly in your business, chances are you're giving them too much in that time frame, more than they can actually process. Right. It's kind of like being at the end of a fire hose, right? And they're getting so much, they don't even know what to take with them. It's too much information. And then they have to go back and sift through it all to determine what was really, really the nuggets that they needed in that session with you. So going over time is a way that might show up in your business around your boundaries and keeping your boundaries really, really clean. I like to think of it as clean and neat and solid, right? Just like that fence. It might be for you too that how your boundaries might be getting challenged or pressed is that you find there are topics being brought into your sessions, that clients bring into your sessions, or that you allow into your sessions that really don't belong there, right? It's outside of the scope of the package that this client signed up for. It's outside of the scope of the topic for the day. And that's another way that it can creep in for you, and so you can handle that really easily. And you can say, when you notice that, if you're noticing that in your business, you can say, that's a really great question and a really super topic. However, that's outside of the scope of what we're talking about today, or that's outside of the scope of what we're talking about for this month or these next 3 months or whatever it is. But I'm going to make a note of it. And that reminds me that this is important to you, and we can address that at another time, address that in another coaching session or another therapy session or whatever it is, right? So rather than letting it leak into the container that you've created, right? Because the container has nice, beautiful boundaries. Just acknowledge it and then give it a name, which is important, but not within the scope of this container, and then make a place for it so that your clients know that that's a really important thing. She heard me, and that's important, and we will talk about it later. And what that does too is it gives the promise of working together in the future, right? Like, and when you love your clients, you know, you have an ideal client who's you want to serve, then, oh my gosh, when this container is complete, then we can look at working together in another way. But just remember, you don't have to answer everything and be everything to your clients in every session. It's not the place for it. And the more clear you get about that, the better it is for everybody, and the better it is for your clients too. And you have a really beautiful pasture fence that you are building and maintaining, right? Another way that that it can show up for you that boundaries getting pressed in your business are clients paying late, or changing the scope of a payment agreement or a time frame agreement, or it might even be always changing their session times or missing sessions. These kind of, they're leaks, right? Like it's leaking out the fence. The energy and the value of that container is being kind of, poked holes in by these things, by taking late payments, or clients making their payments late, or by always changing the schedule. So the more consistency that you can outline, and the more consistency that you can build in for people and for yourself, the stronger your boundaries are going to be, the stronger your pasture fence is going to be, and the stronger your business is going to be, the healthier your business is going to be, right? Boundaries are everything. Boundaries, they keep us safe. They keep us successful. They keep the water flowing in the stream and not overflowing, right? Like the edge of the stream, those are the boundaries. And when you think about water, I like to think about money almost like water or like air. It just flows, right? But money, it needs an avenue to get to us. It needs a boundaries, a canal, a stream, to be able to flow to us, right? And so it needs boundaries. So thinking about boundaries in your business, liken it to a pasture fence, and you love what's on the inside of that pasture, right? You love horses or your alpacas or whoever is on the inside of your pasture fence, your chickens, right? Your chickens inside the run, right? And you love your business too, right? So when there are leaks in your boundaries, or there are downed fence rails, it's a danger sign. It is a sign that something could happen, something is happening that could bring harm to that which you love, right? Either the horses can get out, or predators could come in, or let's just face it, it kind of looks shabby when you have a down fence rail, it's an energetic mismatch. And so these boundaries in your business, whether they're money leaks or time leaks or diluting the value of what you provide, or maybe it attracts or allows non-ideal clients to stay with you, right? And either way, it is an energetic mismatch for what it is that you want to be creating in your business, through your business, by your business, for your life, right? So you want to stay profitable, prosperous. You want to deliver outstanding quality. You want to be consistent, and you really want to have an attractive business. And that's what having a beautiful fence with in place, sturdy fence rails is going to do for you. So my question for you, my coaching question for you is, what is a fence rail that you need to shore up in your business? And how can you do that today? Today, meaning today, done by the end of the week. What is the fence rail in your business, a boundary that you could shore up, and could be stronger or sturdier or in place really solidly? And how can you make that adjustment today? All right. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know. I am here to cheer you on. I am here to help you out and to always remind you that you are amazing, you are beautiful, and be in flow. Everything you want is ready for you. Just stay in flow and be willing to receive. So, all right, all my love to you.